Welcome back to Talk Local on Rogers Television. Tonight's topic is how can newcomers and other job seekers in Mississauga find a job in their field? And we have this evening our first caller, Pam from Mississauga. Go ahead, Pam.
I mean Brampton, not Mississauga, Brampton.
Sorry, Pam, from Brampton.
Yeah, sorry. How are you?
Excellent. How are you doing this evening?
I'm all right. You?
Great. So tell us, have you got some input to the subject that we're talking about this evening?
Yes. Yeah, I think you guys are doing a wonderful job with the government and giving and spending more money on other people. I think you guys are doing a wonderful job out there. And
Thank you. We appreciate it.
And you guys are doing really good. And also, they're not giving enough money out to anybody at all because I'm working right Monday through Thursday, but they're not giving me money for some reason.
Well, the way funding works, there are all sorts of different sectors and government agencies that are working with significant budgets for integrating and rationalizing the economy. Oh, looks like we've lost Pam. So if you'd like to contribute to our call, we're at 905-848 live, and we'd welcome any callers that are calling in this evening. Now, our next guest is Javier Hanez Mas from Lima, Peru, and Javier is a mentee. He's been successful in his job search, and he is now volunteering as a mentor after 3 years work experience. And if you recall from the last segment, we were discussing the roles of mentor and the significance and the importance of it in quite some detail. So Javier, maybe you could tell share with our viewers just a little bit about the experience of being a mentor.
Well, first of all, the main role of a mentor is to provide guidance to newcomers, people seeking for opportunities in the labor market, not only helping them to make a resume or to get ready for an interview, but giving the real information of what the Canadian market is looking for, which in some cases is different from what you are asked when you apply for a permanent resident. So the first two steps for me as a mentor is to help the person to find to discover how he or she is and to develop a plan of life. So after that, then we will focus on the specific field based on the background, professional background, and we'll design a strategy to look using different sources to find a job.
Right, right. The way you've described it, there's considerable time and attention and understanding on both of your parts to what it takes to get a job and what commitment you have to make a job. But as a mentor, you're not paid for this.
Oh, of course I am not.
Why do you do it?
We call it's the satisfaction of helping someone else, because you've been through this before, and it's all about life. It's helping each other. I mean, there's nothing more rewarding than being someone succeed, because you have been in the same situation before. So it's not about money. It's about the satisfaction of seeing someone else succeeding, starting a new life in a new country, especially when you come to a new country and you have no friends and you have no family. So having a mentor helps you a lot.
I see. So again, as Nathan was describing it in the last segment, he described it as your mentor is your GPS.
Exactly.
For that. But the way you're describing it, it's more than just an electronic map. It runs much, much deeper than that. And that there is a considerable commitment to it.
Exactly. I remember someone told me once, looking for a job is a full-time job, so there must be a commitment. You have to spend time, you have to do your homework. And the most important thing is that you have to be completely focused. I can mention as an example a person that came to Canada in June last year, and he has been doing his homework, and he got recently a wonderful job in a wonderful company.
Great.
So it's not that you will start from the beginning doing exactly what you wanted to do or what you used to do in your former country, but you have to adjust and do little by little, and you'll get there.
So what you're describing now is you won't succeed unless you adapt.
Exactly.
And that if you're arriving here with a very fixed set of expectations, that it's going to be difficult, and that you need to adjust and modify to the Canadian context.
It's a new mindset. You have to be open mind. And that's what I was told before coming to Canada. You have to come here with your mind completely open, like resetting a computer, exactly the same. And you have to start from the beginning. You can set your expectations, but you have to go little by little. I mean, you cannot start from the last step of that.
Right. You know, Nithin, the one of the things in our work that we encounter quite often is foreign trained professionals coming here. If you ask them what their expectations are here, they describe them exactly as what they were doing in their home country. And how effective do you think that is in terms of planning or adapting?
Yeah, in some cases or in some sectors, it's a realistic goal, but in many cases it is not. So if you were a vice president or a manager or a branch manager, or you are holding a good job title, you may not get it immediately. You have to perhaps target a lower job title. And that's why I said it takes 5 to 7 years for someone to settle. Is you come to Canada, you are on a career graph, then you drop a couple of job titles, and then it takes you a couple of more years to get back to where you were in your home country, the same job title. So there are people who have been administrative assistants or accountants in their home country. That is realistic to expect the same. But if you were the vice president, I would say, or the chief information officer, you may not get the same designation here in Canada right away. You might have to start 1 or 2 levels below. But it all depends on how prepared you are and what is the attitude that you have. If you have a good positive attitude, I find that employers hire for your attitude, and they have a choice of people with the same set of technical skills, and whom will they hire? Somebody who is a good team player and someone who has the right attitude. So if your attitude is one that you will embrace change and not resist change or challenge, then you are better off. I have found such mentees, their journey to a job is much quicker than those who resist change or are slow to adapt.
Well, when you're talking about change and adapting to change, one of the issues that seem to haunt this subject is simply that there's not enough discussion about what employers require and how newcomers should position themselves for the expectations of employers. Because the bottom line for many companies is that if someone can come to them with critical skills that they need, understands the key success factors of their organization, can demonstrate that they have an understanding of that business and they can be productive in that business, that you can actually move faster to linking that. Have you experienced that?
Yeah, we have, and that is why TRIAC has got an excellent program called Hire Immigrants. The website is hireimmigrants.ca, and in that, employers are contacted and made more aware of the talent which people like Anjali and Javier bring with them. And there are some cross-cultural interviewing and hiring and retaining practices which are shared, because typically in today's job market, the small and medium businesses are hiring 98%, they are creating 98% of the new jobs, and they are not typically looking at an immigrant to hire. They are looking at the competitor's employee to hire, right? So that is someone with Canadian experience, which they want first. But the newcomer is number 3 on their priority list. And at Dixie Blue, at Costi, Access, and all our other partners, we help the newcomer to be more aware of their skills, like Javier said, to discover themselves and to make a customized resume and pitch in with the right sort of job search effort.
Right. Well, let me ask you, what is your professional background?
Industrial engineering.
Industrial engineering.
Yes.
And your home country is Peru.
Peru, yes.
Yeah.
So,
And you worked as an industrial engineer in Peru.
yes.
And you're working as an industrial engineer
Yes.
now in Peel?
Oh, yes.
Oh, very good, very good. Tell me something. How would you compare your position now vis-a-vis your position in your home country?
Well, in terms of professional development, I feel totally satisfied and comfortable in the company where I work right now, which is the Owen Media Partners Group, and I work for the Cerno Research Division. I'm in charge of the research department. And as an industrial engineer, we have so many areas. Basically, what an industrial engineer does is improve processes, efficiency, so we can go anywhere. So I feel very good, but in addition to the professional side and the academic, I have been updating and upgrading my skills also in the field. And by the way, I am a member of the IIE, which is the Institute of Industrial Engineers, the senior chapter in Toronto. And so I am in touch with all the professionals in my field.
Okay, so we've touched on a couple of things here. One of them you just described, a very important professional organization that's important for networking, but you also described your position. And I wanted to ask you, now you've got a few years experience with that organization. How do you feel about your career growth or your ability to grow your career now after 3 years of work experience here?
I've been given the opportunity to grow very quickly in the company that I'm working at right now. I remember that I started as a telephone researcher and then moved to lead server coordinator and then to supervisor.
Great. Javier, thank you so much. Now, we're just going to break, and we'll be back and welcome you back in just a few minutes. Welcome back to Talk Local at Rogers Television. And tonight's topic is, how can newcomers and other job seekers in Mississauga find a job in their field? And we have with us Nitin Doran from Dixie Bloor Neighborhood Services and Javier Mas, who is a industrial engineer that came to Canada a few years ago and has now been working for 3 years, but went through and experienced the entire acclimation process here. I'd like to, in this segment, we have a caller from Mississauga, Geeta. And Geeta, are you there? Hello, Geeta. Oh, sorry, we lost the call. But I'd like to remind you that anyone that has an opinion or contribution for this subject, to give us a call at 905-848-LIVE, L-I-V-E. Now, let's move on to one of the thornier subjects in this whole business of integrating newcomers, foreign trained professionals into the Peel region labor market. Oftentimes, they'll send out resumes and not get any response, or they'll be, in an interview, they'll be informed that they weren't successful in the assignment or the opening because of no Canadian experience. Well, before we move on to no Canadian experience, Geeta, are you back? Hello? No?
Hi.
Oh, there she is. Geeta, good evening.
Hi, good evening. Sorry, I was wondering what happened.
Thank you for calling in. Let's hear your input.
Okay, first I wanted to congratulate DVNC for doing such a great job. I wanted to specifically ask Mr. Dora, because he mentioned, embrace change and start, on a couple levels below before you get to your position. A lot of times as newcomers, we get discouraged looking for a job, and we end up taking a factory position or, a really ground level position. How can we, use their services without losing our source of income?
Okay, that's a good question, Geeta. I normally, we encourage newcomers not to go in for a full-time job. The idea is, if you are, say, ideally, if you have come with your spouse, both husband and wife are here in Canada, my tip to you, after working with around 1,500 newcomers, many of them, spouses, is that one of you should be job searching and working part-time. The other spouse should be working full-time in an odd job. Once the spouse who is job searching and working part-time gets a job in his or her field, the other person then starts doing full-time job searching, right? That is the way both of you settle down, very, I would say, quicker than both of you doing a part-time, both of you doing a full-time odd job. The mistake I would say most newcomers make is they work full-time during 9 to 5, then they go home, they apply to 40 or 50 jobs, watch a TV serial and go to sleep. That I think will not get you anywhere. What you have to do is between 10 to 3 is ideally to be cold calling, networking, doing informational interviews, coming to centers like Dixie Bloor, and getting the help that you require, and then working part-time from 5 to 9, and on weekends, on Fridays, on Friday evening or Saturday, Sunday. And don't overdo it. The odd job should not be done for more than 20 or 25 hours. You must devote at least 15 to 20 hours of job searching, and it's that balance which will get you, where you want faster. And have fun while doing it. Don't get depressed. There are a lot of things to be seen here in Mississauga and Toronto. It's summer here. Take a break from your job search and be happy and positive, because you will never know when your cell phone will ring and you will get a phone interview.
Oh, very good. Gita, could you tell us a little bit about yourself? How long have you been in Canada?
10 years.
10 years. And what is your field?
Social services.
Social services. And are you working in social services now?
No, unfortunately, I was one of the unfortunate people who lost their jobs when the budgets changed.
I see. So
it's been a little challenging, to get back in the field, and we end up doing odd jobs. But that's one of the trends that I have seen as a newcomer, where, we end up getting stuck in an odd job.
Nitin, what advice would you give to Gita?
I would, request Geeta to come in anytime, she is free. For job seekers like her who might be working 9 to 5, we have Tuesday evenings which are open till late. We are also thinking of having a Saturday, half day, like from 10 to 2. So we'll be shortly starting that. We also have, evening job search workshops from 4 to 8. So we are developing services. We are training staff to, be more flexible to help, people who are in the same situation like Geeta is.
Mm-hmm. Geeta, it's still crucially important to expand your networks and be active in your networks. And even when government funding for different programs dries up or shuts down, others open up and new opportunities open up. But the best way for you to learn about them and to be able to identify them is through your networks. And an organization like Dixie Bloor, the Mississauga Board of Trade, also is running programs to assist in that regard. And I guess it's not to lose hope and keep active in that networking process.
Definitely, and yes, Dixie Bloor is doing, fantastic, and considering Nitin has mentioned that he's going to be having different timings, that will give us the flexibility of coming, looking for a job. So thank you so much.
Great, thank you for calling in.
Very much, yeah.
And again, you can reach Talk Local to contribute to the show at 905-848-LIVE. Now, we have another caller. It's Swadina from Brampton. Swadina, are you there?
Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening. I'm Swadina Kanungo.
Very good. What is your input to our program this evening?
Yeah, just now I'm watching your program, and we are new to Canada. Hello?
Yes, we're listening to you.
Yeah, we are new to Canada, and thing is, my husband was working as a sales rep in J&J back home. It means Dubai. He was working there,
And what industry was he working in sales?
Yeah, he was working in Johnson & Johnson Healthcare Medical Devices.
All right, your husband should go to www.biobridge.
Yes. Sorry?
BioBridge.
BioReach.
Yeah,
Can you spell for me?
biobridge.ca.
.ca. Okay.
Yeah, and contact biobridge.ca because they're working hard at bridging programs to link up professionals in the life sciences and pharmaceutical sector.
And it's spelling BIORICH?
No, BIO Bridge, BRIDGE. But if you stay on the line, someone will give you the coordinates for that.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you
You're
for
welcome.
calling, Swadina.
Okay, bye.
Now, before our next caller, let's get back to that thorny question of no Canadian experience. What does no Canadian experience really mean?
Well, first of all, we will have to say what is Canadian experience, and that is the big question for everybody, because when you're applying for a job, they say, well, you have no Canadian experience.
Is there such a thing as no U.S. experience?
Well, no.
No.
That's-
Is there such a thing as no UK experience?
No.
No. So we have something unique here.
So when we talk about Canadian experience, we are not talking about the knowledge, the technical knowledge, or the soft skills in your profession. We are talking about getting used to this new society, this new system. And that's what, in some cases, some employers worry about that. So when they say, well, you have wonderful credentials, lots of experience, a very good level in your language skills, but no Canadian experience, especially when you just came, when you just arrived. However, and this is something that I would like to point out, there is no recipe, there is no magic formula. It works different for everybody. So you can arrive in Canada and the next day got a job in your field, in the same position or not. Every situation is different. It depends on many factors, like your language skills, how you sell yourself, how you manage your network, how much money you bring with you, because as Nitin was mentioning, I mean, sometimes you have to spend time the first hours of the day doing your job search, and maybe in the afternoon or at night working, doing some part-time job, and that is the way. So going back to what Canadian experience really means from my point of view is that you have to get used to the society. And like, just to give you a specific example, for example, when you are in the labor market, when you are in a company, for example, people that come from South America, we used to say Mr. Dora, and here it's like Nitin, how are you? I mean, it's colloquial. I mean, the day to day. So it is not something that will stop you from getting the job. So don't be afraid, don't be scared. Canadian experience is nothing bad.
Do you know in many ways, what Javier is describing, we call soft skills.
Yeah, it is soft skills, but when newcomers hear the words, sorry, you don't have Canadian experience, actually I would suggest to the newcomers who actually hear it to think that maybe the employer is trying to tell you these three things. One is, I don't think you are a good fit in my company, right? It's a polite way of saying, sorry, I can't hire you, right? The interviewer is in a hurry to get this interview over and move on to the next candidate. What does he say to the candidate?
So so if he was, the interviewer rather was running into the same thing with, let's say, someone that was born in Canada, they would be saying to them, well, I'm sorry, we need more experience.
Something like that.
Something
Or
like that.
It's actually, if you compare, job searching in Canada per se is tough. It's tough for Canadians, it's tough for newcomers. Canadians are also, who are here, who born here and educated here, are also not everyone is employed at their own potential. They are working below potential. The number of newcomers who are immigrated and who are working below potential is more than that, so the problem looks more obvious. But you have to read in between the lines when you hear the words no Canadian experience, what it really means.
Okay. We're going to return to this in the next segment. We'd just like to ask the viewers we're going to take a pause right now and to return to us and join us. Talk Live, Talk Local, Rogers Television. Welcome back to Talk Local on Rogers Television. Tonight's topic is how can newcomers and other job seekers find a job in their field in Peel Region? And with us tonight we have Nitin Doran from Dixie Bloor Neighborhood Center, and Javier Mas, a foreign trained professional who has been working successfully for 3 years in his profession as an industrial engineer here in Canada. And before we get back to our discussion on no Canadian experience, we've got 2 callers on the line, and I believe our first caller is Chitra from Mississauga.
Hi.
Hi, Chitra. How are you? Tell
I'm
us,
okay.
what is...
And who am I speaking with?
You're speaking to George Carries.
Hi, George.
How are you this evening?
I'm fantastic.
Good, good. So let's hear your input to this topic.
Yes, I've been here in Canada now nearly about 3 years, and I have had mixed experiences. Initial, of course, was contrary to my expectations. I was really depressed because the things didn't go my way.
Right? What's your professional background?
Okay, my professional background is I'm a trained teacher, and I was actually in training and development, creating course modules, adult trainer, language trainer. So it's been training all through and through, especially corporate training. And when I came to Canada, I found that corporate training is something that's almost a white man's job. For me to make an entry, I should have been here at least about 2 decades. I don't think I can easily get an entry into the corporate training world at all.
Well, okay. Well, let's hear Nitin, and what's your take on that?
So, but what is her question?
Well, how to break into the corporate training field here in Canada? Is that correct, Chitra?
No, I'm actually sharing my experience more than a question. It's just sharing my experience because I know ultimately after I get certain certifications, I can enter the corporate training world. But what I wanted to share with all the viewers and yourself, and for me to just reiterate my stance is, at all times we need to maintain a very positive attitude, and that's the most important thing.
Oh, very good. Well, that's a very good contribution to tonight's program. And thank you, Chitra, and good luck.
Okay. Is it okay if I add a couple of things that I wanted to share with people who are listening in?
Yes, please.
Yeah, one of the things that immigrants do is to fight change. And I think if you fight change, especially as a newcomer, you're definitely not going to win it.
Yeah, so I think that's something we were talking about in the last segment in terms of adaptability. Javier was discussing the need to adjust and accommodate and not be rigid in terms of your expectations.
Absolutely, that is one of the things. So I had to change my field. I don't regret changing my field right now, but I know it's going to help me in the long run to come back into my training.
Okay, well, good luck, Chitra, and we're going to move on to our next caller now.
Thank you very much.
All right, good evening. Is Barrett from Mississauga?
I'm Barrett. Hi.
Hey, good evening.
Hi, George. I am Barrett. I live in Mississauga.
Great, great.
I'm a landed immigrant for the last 9 months, and I am a trained dentist who has a 25 years of clinical experience, plus a 6 years of postgraduate dental graduate teaching program back home in India. And I'm here at the moment working with one of the security companies as a full-time guard. But at the same time, I'm going to the school as well. What I'm just trying to, I'm facing the problem is that the programs like us who have been professionally trained back home and have a lot of experience, they don't have any way to get into the profession where they can work immediately, with their kind of a background. To even assist like that. Now to even become an assistant level also, although I have cleared the exam, I'm going through a program where I'll be certified dental assistant by the end of this month like that. But as a newcomer, what I just want to know is that with that kind of an experience and professional background, why there is nothing which is available to them. They can give us a lower jobs where they can see that we are professionally trained, whether we can do our jobs well or no.
Yes.
But there is nothing which is coming up which help the newcomers and find a job.
Well,
and at the same time, we have to survive, and there is no money left. Whatever the money you bring in, it just goes off just like that.
Well, what you're describing sounds like regulated profession, which dentistry is.
That's right.
And one of the province has been working very hard over the last 5 to 6 years, I would say, at reducing some of these barriers. And I think you see some of these things in the news. The Ministry of Citizenship and Immigration and Colleges and Training and so forth in Ontario has been working very hard to bring down these barriers, but they're not coming down as quickly as many of us would like. And what would you suggest to this gentleman?
I think there is a program called Health Force Ontario, which is excellent, and it's taken up the challenge, and it's trying to consciously reduce the time for integration and licensing and get to work, like Bharat said, even if not as a dentist, but a couple of steps below, but at least they get to work in their field. So I think I would suggest you take a look at Health Force Ontario, and there is an excellent program in British Columbia which is called Health Match, and maybe the province of Ontario could do well to take some of the best practices and adopt the Health Match program. It is really successful in BC.
Very good. Did you get that?
But sir, I would just like to inform you here that I have already contacted the health force sector, what the gentleman is saying. They are basically connected with only medical field. They have nothing to do with the dental field. You go through that whole program, go there for a couple of hours, sit there, and they finally said, sorry, we are nothing to do with the dental people. You have to contact this agency, that agency. Nobody comes for a help. Okay, we somehow or the other down the lane, I do, with my positive approach, I know that I'll be able to make it. But what I am just trying to say is that the kind of an experience you are holding, the professional experience, when you are doing an odd job, you are simply losing out your technical skills for nothing. While these can be put to a major work even at a lower level, I don't mind going in, changing my field and be happy with it if I'm able to make a decent earning out of it and make a good living for me and my family.
Bharat, you bring up a couple of interesting points here that I think deserve a little bit more discussion. One of them is that if you look around in Peel Region, I would say that at least half of the dentists that practice here were born outside of Canada. So I think that if you spent some time, and you probably have already started this, networking with practitioners, now introducing yourselves to them, and not one or two that you may know through your family, but build up a network of these individuals and the college here in Toronto, and find out from the inside how these people developed their paths arriving in Canada and building up their practices. I think that would be very, very helpful. The other thing is many foreign trained professionals have come here with, let's say, an engineering professional designation, and have found that really the market for their engineering specialty is not as robust as it was in their home country, and that to obtain their credentials here, to be able to work, are lengthy as well. You should also consider the possibility of looking at an alternative career that might be somewhat related. We've had a lot of experiences, for example, with engineers that have arrived in Canada and gone to work in the supply chain and logistics industry, and it's been a much faster track to professional development and management development for them than if they'd stayed in the engineering profession. So there are numerous opportunities available in the life sciences sector, in anything from medical devices to all sorts of apparatus, not only for physicians but also for dental care, and that may be something that you might want to consider as well.
Yeah, I don't mind that, but where do we apply and where do we go through that?
Well, again, you can try BioBridge Mississauga for that, and we'll help you look at some of the alternatives that may be available to you based on your background and your interests.
Right.
Great, thanks for calling.
I really appreciate it. Thanks. Right. Thank you. Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Now, we didn't get to, you had three characteristics of no Canadian experience.
Yeah.
And we went through the first one, which was really
You're
your
not a
experience.
good fit.
You're not a good fit.
Good fit,
What about the other two?
The other two are, the employer is basically trying to say that you need like if you are a civil engineer, you need some exposure to the Ontario building codes, for example. Or if you are an accountant, you need to get some software like ACPAC or Simply Accounting or QuickBooks. So there is some local, I would say, experience which has to be imbibed before the employer can take you on. So that is the second meaning of it. And the third meaning, which is really, I would say, very truthful, and many of your viewers may not like it, is, the employer is simply saying, I don't like you. And let's face it, it's a fact. They have got around, every job gets around 1,000 resumes. They call about, they sort of shortlist 40. Out of 40, they do some phone interviews. They get around 4 people in the room, and they have to hire one. And they don't like all of them. So it's just a polite way of saying, I don't like you. So people don't hire resumes or paper, they hire people. And if you have not come across as an individual who has a positive attitude, a cheerful way, if you are not going to contribute to their team in a good manner, the employer simply won't hire you. And that is why in my program I always say that you need EI, which is not employment insurance, but emotional intelligence.
Right. Now, we'll get to the third item,
Okay.
but we've got to take a break. And but please come back, and again, call us 905-848 live for Talk Local. Welcome back to Talk Local. I'm George Carries, and my guests, Nitin Dora and Javier Yanez. And we're talking this evening about how can newcomers and other job seekers find a job in their field in Peel Region. We've been discussing many topics tonight, anywhere from networking to no Canadian experience to preparation before you come to Canada. Nitin, how would you wrap up?
To wrap it up, I would say for the other job seekers, Dixie Bloor is going to offer the Employment Ontario Employment Services model. It's an integrated services model. It's for newcomers who are not new anymore, and for Canadians who have been laid off, for students, for youth, for seniors, anyone, mature workers looking for a job. Come to Dixie Bloor. We'll help you with job search, job matching, job retention, specialized services, information and referral, and you will get a one-stop shop. You will get everything you want regarding job searching in one place.
Excellent, excellent. Javier, some last thoughts.
What I would say is that don't get discouraged. It's hard, it's difficult, but if you are focused, you'll get there. There's no magic recipe, there's no formula, but what I would say is that you have to find your uniqueness, and that is what helps you to find a job.
Okay, good words indeed. So don't lose heart. There's many, many resources in Peel available to you. So look for them, and good luck in your job search. This has been Talk Local on Rogers Television.